Hello, guys. Today we are talking about an exciting topic, chemical equations. So what is it? It is simply the representation of a chemical reaction using numbers and symbols. We can compare it to preparing a recipe. Okay, so let's say that you would like to prepare a cheeseburger, which is shown right here, and all the ingredients are listed right here. My ingredients are the starting materials. In chemistry, we call these reactants. The reactants and products are separated with an arrow. Okay, so what is a very important part of preparing a meal? Well, you have to know how much starting material you need to actually make enough of the food that you are trying to prepare, right? So similarly, in a chemical reaction, we have to follow the law of conservation of mass, okay? This just tells us that the mass of an element at the beginning of a reaction will equal to the mass of the same element at the end of the reaction. Okay, let's take a look at an example. So, in this example, my reactants are H2 plus O2. In brackets, you can see two letters, both are G. These just symbolize the state of the matter. So, H2G means that I have hydrogen gas. O2G means that I have oxygen gas. And if I mix the two together in the right way, I'm going to produce my product H2O2, which is a liquid. So H2O2 is actually hydrogen peroxide and it is used as a mild antiseptic. So let's take a look at the number of atoms and the kinds of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side. On the reactant side, we have two hydrogen atoms, these two together. We also have two oxygen atoms, these two together, right? And on the product side, I'm going to still have two oxygen atoms right here, and one hydrogen atom on this side, and another hydrogen atom on the other side. So indeed, I have the same number of atoms both on the reactant side and on the product side. Okay, now what happens when I don't have the same number of atoms? In that case, my reaction is called unbalanced reaction. So how do I balance my reaction? Well, I simply have to have the same number and type of atoms on both sides of the equation. So let's take a look at a similar example that we just had. Um, I have two hydrogen atoms on the reactant side, two oxygen atoms on the reactant side, and I have water as my product. In order to follow this in an easier manner, we can actually write this out. Hydrogen, I have two. Oxygen, I had two. On the product side, I still have two hydrogen atoms, but only have one oxygen atom. Okay, how do I balance this reaction out? What would be the easiest thing to do? I'm missing one oxygen atom, right, on the product side. What if I just put a 2 next to this oxygen? Would that work? Well, it would definitely balance my reaction out. But would I still get the same product water or would it be a different material? It would be indeed hydrogen peroxide, right? Water is H2O. Hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. So basically, by adding that subscript there, I am changing my product completely. But I don't want to make hydrogen peroxide in this reaction. I want to make water. So this is not the right way of balancing my equation. Keep in mind that when you are balancing an equation, you have to adjust the so-called coefficients, not the subscripts. Okay, so what are the coefficients? Coefficients just simply numbers that I can put before my molecules. I'm just showing the space where I can put those numbers. Okay, So let's take a look at the equation again. So we have two hydrogen atoms on both sides. We have two oxygen atoms on the reactant side, but only one oxygen atom on the product side. How do I balance this out? Actually, on my product side, I have an odd number of oxygen atoms. But on the reactant side, I have an even number. So when this happens, you simply have to multiply by 2. So I can put a coefficient of 2 before the H2O. This simply means that every single atom in that molecule will be multiplied by 2. So now 2 times 2 for the hydrogen atoms is going to give me 4. And 1 times 2 for the oxygen atom is going to give me 2. Okay, now if I look at my reaction, I have 2 oxygen atoms on both sides, but on my product side, I only have 2 hydrogen atoms, and on the reactant side, I have 4. So how do I balance this out? Well, I simply just multiply my H2 gas by 2. Okay, so if I do that, I have to multiply this by 2 also and account for the change. All right, let's double check our work. I have now 4 hydrogen atoms on the reactant side and 4 hydrogen atoms on the product side. 2 oxygen atoms on the reactant side, 2 oxygen atoms on the product side. So my work checks out. And here's my final chemical equation. I hope this makes sense. Check out the next video where I cover a bunch of examples on how to balance chemical reactions.